Are we live?
We might be. We could be.
Can you see me?
Do you see anybody? DB, how you feeling?
I'm here.
I think that's as much of an opening as we need.
Right?
That's it.
And now, on with the show.
Especially for DB.
Time for bladder check. Check.
Check.
Check. Wait. Screw it. I'm holding it.
Podcasting, the final audio frontier. These are the legends of Brown Squadron.
Our computer is picking up a strange signal. Here, sir, you better take a look at it.
The ongoing mission? To explore the Star Wars universe and other nerd culture topics. To seek new content and new cantinas, bars, and lounges. To boldly annoy Scruffy by making too many bad jokes. Welcome to the Hyperspace Heroes Podcast.
All right, and welcome to Hyperspace Heroes. This is Brown Leader signing in. All wings report in.
Brown 2 is here signing in.
Brown 4 is here for now.
For now. Right on. Welcome, Hyperspace Heroes, episode 102 or 127 on the Spotchka scale. And we're back for another week of meandering and frivolity and see what kind of trouble we can get ourselves into. So
Meandering and frivolity?
I don't know, dude. I just made it up.
Did you just dig up your thesaurus?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I was watching Reading Rainbow, and so...
Hey, wait. Doesn't that have the Star Trek guy?
It does.
Is that Jordy LaForge?
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Oh, okay. So I gotta do.
That makes you mad.
I was telling Scruffy about this. I got to do a quick plug for friends of ours. What does Star Wars mean to you? And so every other week they do they have a guest interview, and then the opposite weeks they pick some thread out of that conversation and talk about something in a little more detail. And this week's episode was about Wookiees. And DB, you're gonna appreciate this. And so they were talking about Wookiees and their code of honor. And Dave on the show said, "Yeah, they're like Klingons, but without the bitchy drama."
Oh, that's awesome!
And I had to reach out to him because I was like, "Dude, that's a T-shirt right there. That is an absolute T-shirt.
Yes,
you've got it. Wookiees are like Klingons, but without the bitchy drama." And but yeah, so we don't. There's no shows going on right now. We've already had our say about Acolyte and things coming up. So we thought we're a month away, exactly a month away from ICCC or ICCC, and so. Scruffy reached out to some friends of ours, and we're going to have Jim Orman on tonight. We'll bring him on in just a second. He is part of the ECPCTV or the Eclectic Collective, and he'll tell us the rest when he gets out of here. So you'd think I'd know that better, but they're the guys that they do a terrific job running the podcast stage studio in at ICCC. And we've gotten to know them, become friends with them. They're great guys. They run a great production. They've been super nice to us the last 2 years. And so being that we're on the road pretty much, we're getting on the road to ICCC here, a month away, we thought we'd bring Jim on and talk a little bit about ICCC. ECPCTV, they are a great group of guys. We're going to learn about them a little bit tonight. And I think that's where we're at. Guys, anything before we bring Jim on?
Nope, let's get into this.
Okay.
I got nothing. Let's see Jim.
All right. Welcome, Jim.
Sing it. I love the nightlife. I love the boogie. Come on.
Right?
I love the nightlife. I love the boogie.
Welcome, Jim.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, So for all of our watchers and listeners, because this will be audio, can you give them the full title of ECPCTV, please?
Okay. So we're alphabet soup. I get it. So there's a lot of things going on. So we have the studio, which is ECPCTV, Eclectic Collective Podcast Television. That's our studio where we do a lot of our production work out of. The podcast is the Eclectic Collective Podcast. And that's where everything kind of birthed from. We started, from our podcast many years ago. There was like 4 of us centered around this really crappy USB microphone. Just kind of just seeing what if, like all these people are doing podcasting. It seems like the it thing. Let's try it out. And it just stuck. We love it because we sit around a table all the time and have nerdy conversations about everything. And then we're like, let's put this together in a format and see what can happen. And it's just grown and grown and grown and grown. So it started with, we have the podcast. It's ECP, Eclectic Collective Podcast. And then the studio is ECPCTV.
Very cool. Very
Awesome.
Cool. Yeah, it's kind of like us. We all work at the same place, and we got caught talking Star Wars too much. So we thought, why don't we take this online and start talking from our wife's basement?
Not enough. Break time's not enough.
No,
Exactly.
definitely not.
Well, we had a tendency to end up in each other's offices. So it was,
there you go.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And we started getting the side eye from the bosses. So we were kind of like, yeah, we might want to hedge this a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, so before we get into more about ECPC TV and ECCC, we always ask our guests, first question that we ask is, what does Star Wars mean to you?
So Star Wars really has a solid place in my heart for many reasons. Sorry, my PTZ is going funny. It really has a hardcore place in my heart because it's one of my fondest. It's part of one of my fondest memories. Return of the Jedi was the very first movie I was allowed to go see as a kid, in the theater by myself. I had gone to see tons of movies beforehand, but it was the very first movie I was allowed to see. And my mom had some kind of an appointment that day, and so she didn't have a babysitter. And I was like, just give me some money and drop me off at the theater. And I watched Return of the Jedi 3 times, and I had a freaking blast.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we all watch movies for that escape. We all want that, just that fantasy moment of, just things of what if. And so Star Wars has really been a huge part of my escape over the years. And so it's one of the few times, that I can remember vividly as a child coming out of a movie going, if I really concentrated really hard, I bet I could learn the Force. I bet I could. It became, it was one of my major obsessions as a child, I had, it was Star Wars, Mask, G.I. Joe, and Transformers. Those were my obsessions. But Star Wars was the first, by all means. And it kills me too to think back in the day. My mom and my grandmother were huge yard sale goers. And so I remember vividly every weekend, most of the time just Saturday, but sometimes Saturday and Sunday, all weekend long, tagging along at yard sales. But I racked up. I came home. I vividly remember my grandmother paying $2.50 for the Death Star playset with about 6 action figures. Original, 6 of the original action figures. Could not tell you where those things are today. I don't remember exactly when I lost them. But yeah, $2.50 Death Star playset and 6 original action figures. So that began my toy collecting at the time, which, as a child, you don't collect, you play.
Right.
Yeah. And so, I had my granddad had, he had a above ground swimming pool. And so he always had extra sand around. So when I say extra sand, I mean like probably a ton of sand, like this huge sand pile. And so I'd always build like these huge movie scenes in the sand. And I had all my vehicles and everything, and it would be everything. It would be Star Wars and Transformers and G.I. Joe, and it would just be this massive scene. And then I got old enough and learned about fireworks. And so then things got epically crazy. Things started really, exploding, like literally. And so that's where a lot of my toys went. I can guarantee you. All of this culminated in me, and she probably still hates me to this day. But all of this really culminated in me burning down my cousin's Barbie dream home, like this massively expensive Barbie dream home. I didn't mean to, because I didn't like put gasoline on it or anything, but the fireworks were a little bit more powerful than I'd planned, and yeah, that thing went down really fast.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So so throughout, I mean, it is the very first memory I have of having that fantasy and toy obsession from a movie, from anything, from a cartoon or anything. Star Wars was the first that launched it all. And that's what it means to me.
Right on.
Yeah, so at 53, I'm still trying to bring things to me using the Force.
Oh, yeah.
The remote control falls on the floor. I'll sit there and like, come on.
Okay. How many? Okay. We all walk through the automatic doors.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We have a
Still
few
do
at
it.
work, and
Still
we
do it.
work in gaming, so we have a surveillance department that watches everything. And so I can only imagine the footage that they've got of me, because there are times I will, and I'll exaggerate too, because I know they're watching. So
Yeah.
I'll just do the whole, waving arms that just really lead into it, and I know they've got a blooper reel up there somewhere. So
I'm sure they do of all of us. Yeah.
My son is probably tired of hearing me say, walking into the grocery store, these aren't the groceries you're looking for.
Yes.
Right on.
Yeah. And then the playing in the sand with the toys, that reminded me, that is where the final Cape Jawa disappeared to.
Oh, okay.
Yep. My cousin had a vinyl Cape Jawa when we were growing up, and I remember it distinctly because I remember thinking, I've got the cloth cape. Mine is far superior and better looking and cooler and more realistic.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, what I wouldn't give for that vinyl Cape Jawa right now.
Right.
But yeah, he is somewhere in the sand pit next to the house that used to be there. Well, sadly.
Oh, I'm sure that, there's been a lot of construction over that site where I used to play. I guarantee you, if you were to core down into that earth, there'd be a lot of action figures down there.
Oh, yeah.
I guarantee it. A lot of them scorched.
Yeah, blown up with pipe bombs and bottle rockets and firecrackers and M80s.
I don't know how many action figures went to the moon on moon rockets. I mean, I don't know.
Yes.
Well, when the firing rockets became choking hazards, we had to improvise somehow, right? I mean, it was
Just saying.
boys will be boys, right?
Absolutely.
So, welcome everybody in the chat. Did you play or Scruff? Did you show Micah chimed in, and then and then Ubaldo. Thank you. Welcome joining us again, Micah. Welcome.
Micah, the rig is coming back in the main hall. Shut up. We actually made a t-shirt. He actually got on my nerves so bad. We made a t-shirt that is quotes, Micah, I miss the rig. Quote, Jim, shut up.
Yes.
Oh, that's great. That's great. DB.
Well, Jim, you kind of touched on it already, but I always ask, what is your first Star Wars experience or your first memory? But you kind of touched on that with Return of the Jedi. Anything else you want to add about that?
It was Star Wars was my first three. Like, if you want to get into t-shirts that we have over the years, of course, I have my nerdy t-shirt collection. I am wearing Transformers right now. Sorry, I know you're a Star Wars podcast, but I got
we love Transformers.
Right on.
All my loves. So, but I have my nerdy t-shirt collection. So, Star Wars started my nerdy t-shirt collection. So it was the very first three shirts, and I can picture them in my head. Of course, I was a child, so none of them I'm way beyond that size now.
Yeah, my first Star Wars T-shirt was the Yoda Underoos. I can go try to put that on right now, but I don't think anybody's going to want to see that.
Yeah, I had Vader Underoos, but
Vader. I had the Vader. I had the Vader.
I had Yoda. Yep, I was right there with you, Scruff. So, wondering they couldn't get Luke. What the heck?
I know.
At the
maybe.
time.
Do you still have your T-shirt? Maybe we could both put them on and wear them to the podcast room on our first day.
No!
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not doing that.
yeah, no.
Nobody wants to see that.
No, they'll be cutting the video feed for sure on that.
Yeah,
one,
Yeah. Mike will fire me.
Right on. So with ECP and ECPTV, how long have you guys been doing your thing?
So let's see. Podcast, I believe we started. I want to say, let's see, 20. So we pre-planned around 2017. So I think it officially launched in 2018. So that's when we first got around that one microphone and, acted like we knew what we were doing, but we really didn't for podcasting. I have a background in audio. I was a touring musician for many years in my extreme youth. Back in way back, way on back. And so I've got a background in audio engineering. I know how to do sound. And so, we were just like toying around with it. And you don't want to go all in on something before you really know, are you going to enjoy it? Or, is this going to be a thing? None of us are doing this because we're going to be millionaires from it. We're all doing it because it's something we love and have fun doing.
Wait, what? Wait.
What do you mean? We're not going to
You
be
lied
millionaires?
to me, Brown Leader?
Oh my God.
We're not going to make it?
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
All right. Scruffy signing off. See you guys.
Brown 4 is out of here.
127 episodes later, I've kept these guys in the dark that long.
It's all over.
I can't even tell you how disappointed.
Jim, you're never coming back on the show.
Right.
So I should go back to work and pull my 2-week notice.
Yeah, probably.
You should probably pull that. Yes.
Yeah, you should probably. Yeah, don't quit your day job.
So yeah, we got started around 2018, and it just, it blew up pretty fast. Like within like 4 episodes, I had all new equipment. I had new mixing board. I had new, I went and bought a brand new computer. I went and bought everything, and it's just been spiraling out of control ever since.
Yeah, I have no background in audio, but that's how I am. I'm slowly been accumulating more and more equipment as time goes on, and it happens. Yep, for sure. Mm-hmm.
The good thing is technology these days, as things advance even further, I've been able to cull my equipment down because I can do more with less now because technology is catching up a whole lot faster. So
yeah, right on. And so what are some of the, you guys talk, it's the Eclectic Collective, because you guys are more than just Star Wars. You guys talk about a lot of stuff, right?
That's correct. It's our eclectic background in all of our fandoms. We've got one guy, I'm not really big on horror, but we've got my younger brother. He is huge into horror, and that man can talk for hours about horror movies. I kind of lean towards, I do have an affinity for like the OGs, like Friday the 13th and Halloween.
Yeah.
But outside of that, and new age horror where it's just like, shock and awe, I don't really get into that much. I like things to have a good story. And I'm not really into, what you can do to blow my mind. I'm really from a visual grotesque perspective, I'm really into how can you blow my mind from the story writing the story you're telling. And there's some movies out there that can tell a compelling story. Saw, I thought was the first Saw, I thought was a brilliant story. I mean, I love it when a movie can catch me off guard and throw a twist on me that I don't see coming, because I've seen so many movies, I can practically predict most all new movies coming out.
Yeah.
But when they can catch me off guard, I freaking love it. So, but again, not terribly into horror, but he's super into it. We've got some that are, huge into gaming. Micah has got his own streaming with gaming. I'm not terribly into that. He and I get into arguments all the time about whether, esports is an actual sport or not. And you all should probably know my answer to that. So yeah, it's just, we all have our own thing. We all collectively love Star Wars. We all get into Marvel to a certain extent. We all get into DC. We all love Transformers. We all love this and that. Some of us are, lean more into something than others. And so we share our knowledge and love with each other on what we really dive into. And then we all meet in the middle on practically everything, because it all comes back to storytelling. Every last ounce of it comes down to a great story, and that's what we're looking for. And so that's kind of the unifying factor of it all.
So
like Acolyte?
Do you want me to go down this rabbit hole?
No.
Okay. Just I give the warning. I come with a warning label, so
that brings up that brings up a kind of a squirrel moment for me, just going off one of the points you made, which was, predicting storytelling. What do you find nowadays that, and it not Star Wars related, but what do you find nowadays that, is there anything that really surprises you, or is there anything that you've been watching that you've enjoyed, modern day stuff?
We can go down a lot of rabbit holes with the Star Wars stuff. There is some, I will say this, just a quick summary. Here's the thing. They can write all the Star Wars they want. I'm going to consume it all. It's just who I am. It's in my heart. It's in my nature. I'm going to consume all of it, and I will have my own opinions. And that's the brilliant thing, it's the beautiful thing about entertainment. I can make the choice, I consume it, and then I have my own opinion, but I don't feel like I have to, destroy a franchise because of it. And I have strong opinions about it.
Right.
There is a lot of good and there's a lot of bad. So I will continue to keep, consuming all of it, just like I consume all the Marvel stuff, even though it needs a little help, and I'm hoping that they're going down a better road. I've got a lot of hope for the relaunch of the DC universe. I'm really hoping that whole relaunch is going to go well. But here lately, I'm finding like I'm getting really into true crime stuff. There's a show on HBO called True Detective. Mm-hmm. It's not true crime, but it's a really hardcore detective story that's got a rich story that they write around it. And what I love about it is every season is a new cast, and telling a whole completely different story. It's not like this. You're not building season after season after season, building over to a huge story arc. I love that when that's executed well, but it is, each season is its own thing to its own self with its own set of characters, but it has overall it has a vibe to it. The show itself has a particular vibe to it, and they've been writing stories that are very compelling, and they have some twists that catch me off guard. And like I said, I love it when they can do that.
Yeah, right on. I've been watching, I just binged, I watch a lot of Apple TV, and I just binged Sugar with Colin Farrell.
Ooh,
and
was it
that so there is a left, so it's cool. It's a modern day, he plays a PI who's investigating something, but it's got a very LA Confidential 1940s Hollywood noir feel to it.
Yeah.
And then they take a left turn about 3/4 of the way through the season, and you're like, wait, where did that come from? Okay, it explains a couple things, but I didn't see it coming. It was just like, okay, now we're going in this. Okay, the show's going in this direction. All right, it completely caught me off guard, and was I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the series. It was fun. Colin Farrell can play that kind of a character really well anyway. So
Colin Farrell is one of those just insanely good actors. I think pull off practically anything.
Mm-hmm. And then right now I've been binging For All Mankind, and
that me and my son love that. My son is obsessed with space.
Yeah.
And that is a fantastic show.
I just watched episode 6 of season 1, Hi Bob, and the acting and the writing in that episode alone, I had to tweet about it because it was just like, it blew my mind how good that episode was. And it's not a heavy action episode. It's barely any action at all, but the writing and the acting of that writing was just so, it blew my mind.
But what a brilliant concept though. To actually go back, write and tell a fictional story, based in actual things that could have happened or did happen, but happened in a different way. Yeah, my son is nodding knowingly because he now knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But I mean, starting off with, I don't know if I want to speak on all of it because I don't know if it's going to be a spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. But to go back and retell the space race throughout history from the perspective of one event that actually turned out different and how that could have changed human race as a whole. It's just brilliant. And they brought in things fictionally that were actual real concepts behind the scenes. Oh my God, it is a brilliant story.
Yeah. Yep. And the showrunner Droid Bait is Ronald Moore. So
I've heard of him.
Yeah. You've heard of him? Yeah.
Which service is this show on?
Apple.
Oh.
Yeah, it's Apple. Yeah.
That's the one I don't have.
Right. And also, because we always love our Trek references, James Cromwell is in Sugar. And of course, we know him from
Babe. From Babe.
Yeah, from Babe. Yep.
Babe. I know Babe. I've seen that a few times.
But yeah, was it First Contact he was in? He played what's the guy that
Zephyr Cochrane.
Yeah, Zephyr Cochrane.
Little known, he also played a role on Next Generation in about the second or third season. So I know Scruffy knew that, but
yeah, it was all the Trek I've watched over the years.
And there is this week's Trek Talk. So there you go.
All right, done. Thank you. We got that over with.
So Jim, how did ECPC TV get connected with ICCC, and how did that
okay, so we launched in 2018. ICCC had its first show in 2018, and so we were actually one of the very first things that we thought to do. I don't know if we were brilliant or the opposite. One of the very first things we thought to do was, hey, conventions have guests and all these interesting people. Let's reach out and see, what can happen. So we started reaching out to different conventions, and I think Michael Havens got our information from somewhere. I don't know where, and invited us to his house. And we went out and, sat down at his house, and he was pitching us on this, idea of what he had for ICCC, his grand vision. Like, he laid out his whole vision. Because the whole vision is not what you see today. There was the year one plan. There's the 5-year plan. There's the 10, the 20, and the infinity plan. And so he laid out the whole vision. Now it's of course, as all things do, they tweak and adjust and everything as time goes on. Because we went through the COVID years, and that kind of threw some kinks and everything. But we just sat down and had a long conversation, and we fell in love with the whole concept of a convention that is completely and totally, always and forever ran by fans. It's completely coordinated by fans. Fans are, you've got security who are, they work for the Department of Homeland Security. They're ex-Navy SEALs. They're just the most elite security force you could ever. You're the safest in ICCC than you will be anywhere else on the planet.
Yes, you will be.
One of them are freaking collectors. They're all nerds, and so it just the whole concept that everybody has their passion. They all own their passion areas, and they bring this thing to life. I just fell in love with the concept, and I told Mike, I was like, as long as you think I'm doing a good job, and you keep inviting me back, I'm going to keep coming back. So
right on.
Yeah, and definitely a different environment than any other convention I've ever been to.
Yeah,
I've been to quite a few.
That's the whole point. We're trying to create a better, I'm not saying that, New York Comic Con's got its pluses. San Diego's got its pluses. There's so much more about them. But, again, at the end of the day, we're also trying to create an experience that anybody can experience. So, it doesn't, you don't have to take out a bank loan to, to attend with your family of 4.
Yeah.
Right on. Yeah, you guys were the ICCC was the first convention that I had heard of that had its own podcast space, and it's only in the last, I think, 2 years that I've seen Celebration starting it up and other cons starting it up. You guys are definitely trendsetters. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, you could always try to get like press passes and go in and get your B-roll and talk to people and do your reporting style stuff, but nobody had really set up a podcast space. And I think they're finally starting to see the value of that. But yeah, no, you guys have always been super welcoming right from the first get-go of meeting you guys. And I just love that you guys have a space designated. You do the individual interviews with the celebrities in an intimate setting, really. And it's just
Speaking of which, would you guys like to have an announcement real quick?
Sure.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this year, with my planning, you guys know how things typically run. We have tables where some of our guests come in, our podcasting guests can come in and set up and everything, and then we allot times throughout the stage area for recording your own shows, and then we also have been bringing people into the special guest interviews as well. Well, we're getting so popular now, and we're getting so many requests for everything that I kind of had to do everything in a raffle style this year to make sure everything's fair. Everybody has a right as a opportunity for everything. And so I am pleased to announce that 2024, you guys you have your table. You got your table.
Excellent.
But you can also have one guest involved with Billy D. Williams.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, Joe.
Oh, that is awesome.
Dude, that's awesome. Thank you. Holy cow.
Oh, you are the man. Thank you, sir.
Holy cool.
This is the coolest thing you've ever done.
Oh, sure. That's awesome.
Billy D is going to be closed door. We're actually going to be having to give out tickets throughout the convention. And I don't know, we're still trying to figure out how we want to do that. We're getting some tickets pre-printed up for each show. So Billy D and Warwick Davis, I think, are the only two that are going to have to be closed door.
Right.
So we're going to have to give out tickets because it's going to be limited spacing, and once the doors are shut, they will not open.
No.
And so because we have to control those environments based on contractual obligations, and so anywho, yes, so we will probably get you guys involved in passing out some tickets, inviting people to come to see the show, and letting them know that this is limited seating, so that way understand that this it's important. So if you're not going to use it, don't take the ticket. So
right on.
Oh, that is epically awesome.
What do you think the capacity is going to be overall?
So I think typically we have a seating capacity of around 35-ish, I think. Now that's audience members. That doesn't include, all the podcasts who have tables and chairs in the room, and myself and my crew, and then the table up front and everything. There's probably going to be, I think there's a total capacity of around 50 people at max. So I don't know. We'll see.
Right. Or is it going to be in the same room that was at the Sheraton last time?
Same Sheraton room we've always had.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, I'm excited to be back at the Sheraton. I loved the venue last year. It was cool. It was awesome. It was huge. But it just it lacked some intimacy, I think.
It did. And so we kind of went back to the drawing board. There's a lot of challenges we found with that venue. We love the space. We love the venue. But unfortunately, we weren't able to renegotiate a better time of year with that venue. They kept offering us the same year. And when you book a convention on a holiday weekend, our costs quadruple. And so we're trying to control costs because we're not charging what other conventions charge. So we have to keep our costs under control as well. And so it's just not logistically possible to book a convention and, come out even flat. So anyway, So it's we had to go back to the drawing board. We love coming back to the Music City Sheraton. They love us. We love them. We're going to be there this year and next year. And while we're working out the 2026 plans to see where we go from here, I can tell you, it's not a secret. The end game for us is Mike's putting a lot of things in place to where we are going to be buying our own building or building our own building.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be convention hall. It's going to be toy store. It's going to be a lot of different things. We're going to have studios in it. And it's just going to be incredibly awesome. We're also talking about, some other things I'll bring up later on. We're talking about switching into content creation mode because there's a few of us that are setting up a panel for the convention where we're actually going to be getting into some content creation around the convention and beyond. And we can elaborate that a little bit more too later on if you want.
Very cool. Very cool.
Wow, that is awesome.
Yeah, Mike has talked about the goal. One of the goals being, having your guys having his own property. Yeah,
that's the end game.
Yeah, he's mentioned that before when we've had him.
Well,
on,
also too, and this is just the heart. This is just Mike's heart. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
From another standpoint, it's not just having our own space that we control. We set up the way we want it. We know what we're getting into every year. It's laid out exactly the way it should be laid out for a great convention to be. But then he's going to turn around and lease it out at at extremely affordable rates that you're going to kill any other event center in this city to give other smaller conventions that same opportunity. And so,
right.
It just speaks to the heart of Mike. It's like, I'm not here to, I'm not worried about convention. We're all here to support the same hobby. So if you guys want to, use the same space that, we're using, have at it.
Right. Right on. That's very cool. Very, very cool.
Yeah, I would be looking forward to seeing some of those other conventions and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we don't get much up here where we're at. It's we're a little isolated up here.
A little bit.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, that is such a cool thing, but I'm sitting here thinking about it. If we wind up doing this right and we got a convention every month, my pocketbook's gonna hurt.
Yeah,
dude.
Very much so.
Oh my gosh, man. Convention's over. Time to save again. Well, we got one coming up next month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're all gonna have to go get second jobs.
And third and fourth.
And third.
I need to get back to my street weight.
Right on. So what are some of the other things going on this year at ICCC?
Few things. We're actually going to have outdoor laser tag this year, and what's really cool about it is Mike got a bunch of the original 80s laser tag gear, which I think is both hilarious and awesome at the same time. And so we have a company that's going to be organizing outdoor laser tag with 80s laser tag gear, and I'm so looking forward to watching that happen.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wonder if I can find mine. I have 80s laser tag gear somewhere.
I think it's hilarious, but yeah. And also too, we're restructuring the layouts and how things are. We're doing things a little bit cleaner this year, and we're not going to have anything in the hallways this year. No tables, no nothing, to try to help with flow.
Mm-hmm.
We've also worked out, security is, if anybody is staying at the hotel, you're actually going to be able to enter through the hotel. You don't have to go out of the building and come back in and go through security, blah, 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 like we've done in the past. We are going to be allowing people to flow in to help with the, crowd control and the flow of everything. So,
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, when we were there 2 years ago, they would let press through, and I had a press pass, and the guys had VIP passes, and they had to go outside and get in line. And,
I know, isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy?
A little bit, but I get it.
You know why they let you in with a press pass? Is because I walked through because all Mike gave me that year, he didn't give me my staff badge. All he gave me was my press badge, and I walked through, and he wasn't going to let me through, and I was like, Oh no.
Well, thank you, because it made my life a lot easier for sure.
Yeah, so henceforth and forevermore, he let every press badge in. So
right on.
It's another thing we got to approve this year too, because in the past, food has always been an issue. And so we got the hotel to bend and approve us to bring food trucks on site. So we're going to have some food trucks on the back area. So once you get into the convention, you'll be able to go out and get to them without leaving a blocked out convention space.
Right on.
Oh, that'll be nice too.
Yeah,
you'll have options. You'll have options, and I think my son and one of his friends wanted burgers one night, and I door dashed burgers from like Five Guys, and it cost me like $125 or something stupid.
Yeah, Scruffy and I were ordering pizzas from places we never heard of.
Yeah,
and even that's like, I think with $35 for a pizza.
Yeah.
It's like, ooh, that's a little.
But the thing is, they know they got you. So
absolutely. What are you gonna do?
Yeah,
right on for sure. And it's a day longer this year, right?
That's correct. 4 days: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and all days are full convention days. VIPs still get some really cool stuff. They get early entry. They can stay a little later. They get to mingle with the stars in the green room like they always have. And this year, the VIPs actually get a intimate Q&A session with Warwick Davis. So
that's going to be awesome.
Lots of cool things. However, there's no full day dedicated to VIP anymore. They still get a lot of cool stuff. However, it is four full days of convention.
Right on. Yeah, Ubaldo. Yeah, Ubaldo. The longer you watch us and listen to us, that's all we talk about is ICCC all year long.
Pretty much,
for sure.
So, can you give us a heads up on who else is going to be in the podcast room? As far as celebrities and.
Yeah. Hold on a second. Let me bring up my list. Can you talk about something else while I bring this up? I was ill prepared for that question, sir.
I am super excited for Billy D. Williams, man. That is going to be an epic.
For sure.
Epic one.
Rock on, dude. That's
and
awesome.
We're gonna have to go up back and do the Klingon battle for who's there.
Who's there?
Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna be wary of any food you guys offer me beforehand. So
be afraid. Be very afraid.
It's gonna be Hunger Games going on.
Here, I brought you a chocolate brownie. Here, eat this.
Try this taco. No, seriously, it's from the taco truck.
Oh my gosh. All right. So running down the list, here's the schedule. On the first day, it's first day is limited. I think it's 1 to 6. So we're going to start off with a kickoff show. We're going to have some podcasts and everything going on, but then we're going to have Kim Simmons on the stage Thursday, and then right after Kim, we're going to have my favorite Timothy Zahn.
Nice.
Oh yes.
So the Kim and Timothy Zahn are going to be our two primary guests on Thursday. Then we'll close it out with another podcast show. Then we're going to kick it off at 10 a.m. on Friday, and we're going to do Jim Swearingen. Then we're going to do a combo with Dermot Crowley and Tim Rose. Then we're going to do a combo with Aiden Cook and Stephen Constantino.
Mm-hmm.
Then we're going to do another combo with Chris Bartlett and Chris Parsons. Then we're going to do Mark Thompson and close out Friday with Guy Gilchrist.
Cool.
Oh, very cool.
Nice.
We're going to do on Saturday. We're going to do a kickoff show. We'll do some podcast shows, and then we're going to do Lauren Vaught and John Goodson. That one I am really looking forward to because they are from ILM. And Lauren, okay, I'm really looking forward to having somebody talk to her because when she was working with ILM, she actually worked with Mel Brooks on Spaceballs.
Oh, yes.
That's
and I'm a huge Mel Brooks fan.
I love Spaceballs.
I'm dying to talk to her. She was responsible, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think she's responsible for the alien that pops out. Hello, my baby. Hello, my
Yes. That is iconic scene, man.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that conversation.
That's on day 3.
That's on day 3 on Saturday. That's what kicks off Saturday.
Definitely going to be in there for that.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then we're going to have Amy Allen. And I'm going to butcher this name.
Michonne?
Yeah, Michonne.
Yeah.
Yes. How do you pronounce the last name?
That's why I said Michonne. I have
exactly.
Yeah.
I met her at Celebration 3, I think it was, and I wish I could remember because I asked her, I said, yeah, please forgive me, how do you pronounce your last name? And I don't remember now.
That was the guess that Mike revealed on when we had him on the show, and we made him say the last name.
Gosh, I do that all the time. And so then we're going to at 1:55, Billy D. Williams.
Nice.
Need to mark that time, fellas. And then we're going to do Brendan Wayne, and then we're going to do Warwick Davis. And then we're doing Garrick Hagan, Angus McGinnis, and Dennis Lawson.
Oh,
we are not leaving the room that day.
No, I'm going to be stuck there all day.
Being there from bringing the food and going to just camp out the whole day. Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty much stuck, so you know.
Yeah.
You're not getting away, are you?
But dude, I mean, listen to this lineup, man. I don't get bored.
No, absolutely not. That's he has an epic lineup this year. I'm really excited about some of these people.
So we're gonna close out on Sunday. We got a lot of podcast time, open podcast time for Sunday. But then we're gonna close out with Freddie Tillman, Tim Eifer, Anthony Forrest, and Paul Blake, and that's it. That's how we close it out. Then we'll probably do like we do every year. We'll probably do a closeout show to lock down just talk about all the wonderful things and conversations that have been had, and tell everybody how much fun we had, and hopefully you can join us next year. That's the whole reason we do what we do in the podcast room. We do that short form stuff. We do it in bursts all throughout the convention, and it's kind of like the way I pitched it to Mike originally, and the way I see it is what we do in there is kind of like the appetizers of the convention. We're throwing out little teasers, look at this nugget, look at this nugget, look at this nugget. You need to get down here, get your butt down here, because there's so much more to be consumed while you're here. So.
Yeah. Well, it's been my favorite part of the show, just because of the stuff that you learn. I mean, when the Rebels cast, were doing theirs last year, the little nuggets of things that you learned, like Taylor didn't know anything about Star Wars, and Filoni told him, well, don't study. I want you that way. And how that comes across in Ezra's portrayal, it was like light bulbs went off. I was just like, that makes so much sense now. And just the little things, and like Steve Blum and his wife. Oh my gosh, that was so freaking
That was
hilarious.
One of my freaking favorite interviews ever, and it happened by accident.
Yep,
in our room, it happened by accident because we scheduled them separately, and we were talking to Steve, having a good conversation, and then I'm just going to admit this. Okay, I didn't know they were married before the podcast. I had no clue. Okay, I did. I did a little bit of research, but I usually leave it up to Micah and Matt because they're the talent that talks to everybody. So you like my hair? They're the talent that talks to everybody. So I'm doing my work to do the pre-production stuff, and so I'll leave a lot of the research up to them. But I had no clue they were freaking married, and so she came in and she was like, she looked at me and she was like, "Can I go on up there?" And I was like, "Sure." I don't know what's about to happen, but by all means, let's go. And it wound up being one of my favorite freaking interviews of all time. My God, that was so good.
Yeah, that was awesome. John Rhys Davies was awesome too.
Yes.
That was a great interview.
Talk days on end. I mean, and just tell stories. I mean, good Lord.
Yeah. when you look up that, I was so impressed by that interview. But yeah, Steve Blum was my favorite as well, and Mary Elizabeth. But yeah, John Rhys Davy. If you put thespian into Wikipedia, it should have his picture, because that man is just a true thespian through and through.
The way he broke down the Lord of the Rings, dude, I put that as a soundbite on our social media. Oh my gosh, that was so good.
Yeah, it's impressive. Chris Bartlett, great guest. We've had him on, and just super nice guy. Great stories. That'll be a good one for sure. Especially his how he got his first job at EA, because he was a graphic designer for EA. And before his acting career, and that story is just hilarious. But yeah, he's a great guest to have. Super excited to see him again.
That's why I do what I do, man. I love hearing people tell their stories, man, and I love it. I love that moment when you see the light come into their eyes when they start to talk about something they're really passionate about and they love. Honestly, I don't care what the story's about, but when I see that moment and that light come into their eyes, I know where it's about to be gold. So yeah, that's the moments I live for.
Yeah. One of my other favorites from last year was Duck, of all people. And
dude, we love Duck, man.
Oh, Duck was amazing, because I'm an old D&D player from back in the day and played second edition. And so, yeah, I was like, I enjoyed that interview very much.
So Duck got my son and his cousin into D&D, and he was the DM for their very first D&D game.
Nice.
And so I was like, how much cooler can you be introduced to D&D? I mean, come on. And the man runs the D&D museum up in Lake Geneva, and I'm hoping to talk to. We're going to try and talk to him again this year. We've been trying to coordinate where we go up to the D&D museum and film. We want to do this. Duck's all about it. He kind of had a very rough and busy year this year. But he's all about it, where we're going to go up there and he's going to take us on it. We're going to film a tour of the city, and he's going to give us some history of D&D and, how things came to be. And then we're actually going to play a D&D game. And we're going to broadcast it live. And, awesome. We're thinking we might work with Jared with Extra Life, who comes to the convention every year. We're thinking we might work out with him where we might do it in a fashion where we can probably try to raise some money for that Extra Life organization that he works for. But we want to do it where he's agreed to be pretty outlandish in his presentation as he's DMing this thing, and make it like really super freaking cool.
That's awesome.
And so, coming from the man who was, involved with and around the guy who invented the freaking game, I cannot imagine that this is not going to be freaking awesome.
No, that's awesome. Yeah. No.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you guys have a game room this year, right? Again.
Every year, video game competitions. They'll have, awesome prizes. We'll probably have some game systems to give away, and like we do every year.
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's very cool.
Now we're bringing tattoos back. Tattoos are back. So
nice.
Oh, we're all going to get matching tattoos.
There you go.
Oh my gosh.
I already got a design going, guys.
Oh no!
I mean, we were trying to talk Rebel Force, or not Rebel Force, but
Rule the Galaxy.
We're trying to talk them into getting tramp stamps.
Oh, yeah. All right, well, there goes my idea.
That's hilarious. Oh my gosh! And Max Rebo, welcome to the show. Good to see you back, buddy.
That just put an image into my head that I just can't get rid of right now.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, I could just see.
And Joe. Right,
I could just see Joe going around in a crop top with tramp stamp showing. And
we said that was part of it. So if you got the tramp stamp, you had to have the mesh crop top.
Stop. That is burned into my brain now. I don't even know if I can look at those guys now. Oh wow! All right,
it's
you missed the best part of the show, DB.
No, I heard it, and
no, you didn't miss.
and you know, I left in a coughing fit, but now I might have to go vomit. So
no, we all voted while you were away, and you have to get the tramp stamp now since you were away. So.
Oh well, it's a small thermal exhaust port right below the main.
Oh wow! All right.
I'm here.
Well, we didn't want to give you a tramp stamp. We were actually going to flip it and put it on the front and just have it like Max Rebo peeking out. You know.
Does that mean I have to get everything tattooed blue? Because I'll do it.
Oh, yeah.
Don't know how Mrs. DB might take that, but
hey.
All right. Now that we've gone off track, all right.
I always warned you. Warning.
Uncensored. All right.
Yep. Pretty much.
Right on. Well, cool. Well, we're excited to come down for sure. It's less than a month away at this point. And going to be totally excited. So Scruffy and DB are going to be getting down a day early before the show even starts, and they were wondering when are you guys going to be loading in, because they're going to stay at the Sheraton. We're staying at the Sheraton, and they offered to lend a hand if you guys need help loading in or anything.
I can use all the help you can provide. We are going to be loaded in on Monday, and I'm going to be in the main stage area on Mondays, trying to get people set up and squared away on lighting and running audio and setting all these things up. We actually bought some new equipment, so we're going to be assembling things. I hope everything works, because it's going to we're pulling this stuff out of the boxes a few days before the convention, so thank God there's a Guitar Center down the street.
No kidding.
So so we're going to load in and get started set up on Monday. And I will be there every day, all day, going back and forth between main stage and podcast room, getting things set up. So I will accept any and all help you can provide.
Awesome. We'll be, my plan is to be there sometime around 6-ish or so, 6 p.m. And after spending the day in the car, I'll be ready to walk around, do some moving around for sure.
Cool.
And where there's Wednesday, I'll DM you a phone number. You can give me a shout.
Yeah. I was fixing to say we can exchange phone numbers and we can connect.
Right on. Very cool. All right. Well, that's ECPCTV, ECP, and ICCC. Less than a month away. If you don't have your tickets, make sure that you get them. There's still some available, right, Jim?
That's correct. ICNashville.com. ICNashville.com. Tons of tickets still available. Get them right now. The thing is when we're going back to the Sheraton, and so there is always Saturdays we always do run into a capacity issue. So if you're wanting to come on Saturday, you need to get your ticket, because we may find ourselves in an area where we may have to stop sales at some point, so because that's our busiest day of the convention. So just being prepared. If you plan to come on Saturday, you might want to go ahead and get your ticket now.
Right on. All right.
Awesome.
Let's should we move over in the collection corner, guys?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I want it all. I want it all. I want it all.
And that's so we don't get strike. I don't want it now. All right. Scruff. Yesterday was Comic Book Wednesday.
I went in and picked up a few issues. I also managed to snag a couple extra issues of the single run Kalnaka that came out. There it is right there. Somebody's got one sitting in his office at some point in time when he comes back to work.
Yeah, I might come back to work sooner or later.
Probably more later than sooner. But beyond that, I haven't added anything. Like I said, I'm still under my pulling everything together for the upcoming trip. still on the fence on whether I'm going to load the car up with stuff to sell or lose a piece of my soul, or if I'm going to come empty-handed. I don't know yet. We'll see. I actually started gathering a few things together, and I stared at it and like, do I really want to sell this, or should I just open it? Like I have the the mail away rocket firing Boba Fett that came out back in 2010, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have two of those. One is I pulled one out of the box and put it in an acrylic case and put it on display. And then my intention was to pull the other one, open it up, so that I could actually fire the rocket firing Boba Fett that I've been waiting to shoot for since 1978.
Ah.
Yeah, but I haven't done it yet.
You're gonna shoot your eye out.
Did you?
I may very well. Yeah.
Did you see that? So, at the original ICCC, Hakes Auctions was there, and they brought one of the original prototype rocket firing Boba Fett's. And at ICCC that year, they had a both in person and virtual auction, and that prototype sold that year in 2018 for $225,000. They just had another one that sold on eBay. I believe it went for 1.2 million or something like that.
Something like that. 1.2,
yeah,
1.3
mil, 1.2, 1.3 mil. So I was like, yeah, I mean, that would have been a decent investment back in 2018.
That would have been a killer investment for sure. Yeah. I can tell you that if I win the lotto, I'm not going to tell anybody, but there will be signs. That was not me who bought that.
Oh, man, I was hoping that one of y'all would have owned up to it. Come on now.
Sadly not.
That's awesome. DB?
Okay. I might have to actually move my computer so you guys can see this.
Oh.
And I need to preface this with a little story. And I know my co-hosts both know this, but
I love the stories.
Well, I lost my dad a few months ago. And my sister and I have been tasked with cleaning out the house. And I've got a bunch of stuff that's new to me because somehow, even in my 50s, I've still had stuff stored at my parents' house. So I want you guys to check this out.
Oh, what?
That is an episode 3 R2D2 Pepsi cooler.
What?
I have always wanted one of those.
Dude, that's awesome.
For about $500, you can have it, Scruffy.
The sad thing is I'm actually thinking about this right now. I'm actually thinking about this.
I saw the light bulb and smelled the smoke. So
yeah. It was real.
So yeah, no, I've had that. I've had that at my parents' house for about 20 years. I happened to be managing a Blockbuster Video back in the day, and we had this in our lobby, and it cost me $0 to bring home when the promotion was over. And now it's in the man cave. So
nice.
That's awesome.
That is awesome.
I had to share that.
Right on. Jim, are you a collector of things other than old Apple Mac computers?
Which are awesome, by the way.
Which are awesome, yes.
Yeah, so I collect all kinds of things. I mean, I am into pro wrestling, so you can see my wrestling belt. I'm into fantasy football, and I was the champion last year, so nice. defending my title there.
Right on.
Based on my recent draft picks, I probably am going to lose this year. So I sucked pretty bad this year. And so, but I don't, when it comes to like, what are my big collecting pieces? Things, it just, I don't have anything. Like, I've got a few pieces that are worth some money and stuff like that. Like, G1, Megatron, some random Transformers and stuff. But like, I've got, at the first ICCC convention, I had Timothy Zahn sign one of the first Thrawn action figures. And that will never, ever, ever, ever leave my collection. Because I just think Thrawn is one of the most interesting characters ever. I mean, if you read the books, he's just one of the most interesting characters that I've ever come through the Star Wars universe. And so, and talking with him, he's another one I can just talk to for hours. I mean, on end. But that's really special to me. Growing up with, like the Muppets and stuff, I actually in my life got to meet Jim Henson. And I have an autographed picture of Jim Henson in my collection. That's one of the, actually, technically, that's actually at my office. I keep that in my office because I love looking at that all the time.
Wow, that is awesome.
So, but right now I'm kind of in get rid of comic book mode. So, I've got, loads of comic books on my desk that I'm going through right now that I'm trying to figure out and price and make go away, like old Batmans and
oh wow,
yeah. So I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever lose the desire for toys, but my comic books, it just kind of comes and goes for me. I don't know.
Right on.
Yeah,
right on.
It was just a couple years ago. I think I had maybe 6 comic books in this room, and I'm afraid to put a number to it now because Mrs. Scruffy does have your eyes and ears on this one. So yeah, there's a few more. We'll just say a few more.
So during the COVID era, when like comic book stores were trying to do like online auctions really hard and heavy to try to pay the rent and stuff. We had a friend of ours, Judd, who ran Starbase 1552 Comics. And he used to do tons and tons of online auctions. And so we joined one of those auctions one night, and he just so happened to have a whole lot of really fun stuff. One of them was like the first and second appearance of Snake Eyes and G.I. Joe. Snake Eyes was my favorite character. I got those, and I shadow boxed those in front of all of my Snake Eyes action figures that I've got that I've collected over the years. But I was going through, I bought all these comic books during that auction, and I'd totally forgotten about how many comic books I bought in that auction just to get these like 5 comics, because he was selling all these things in like these big, massive bulk groups to make them appealing. And so there was only like 5 or 6 comics out of this whole thing I wanted, but I wound up like this huge box of comics, and it made its way into my closet. And I totally forgot about it. And I discovered that box again the other day because I'm unpacking stuff, getting ready for ICCC, and trying to get equipment out. And I've got a very small place. I have very limited places to put things. So I came across this box again the other day, and I'm like, I totally forgot about all this. And I'm going through all this, and it's just like, there's just tons and tons of comic books in there that I didn't even know I had. I totally forgot about it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, every once in a while I'll go to find something. I'm like, when did I buy this?
Yeah.
I was big into G.I. Joe as a kid, and my Snake Eyes, my original Snake Eyes, is the only action figure I held on to for all these years. I've still got them in storage somewhere.
I've got my OG R2D2.
That's
same
nice.
one. My same R2D2 that I had as a child. I've still got it.
That's awesome.
Oh, and the Yoda. R2 and Yoda. Those are the only 2 I've got.
Right on. So for me, Scruffy, thank you. Picked up a copy of the comic book he was talking about with Kelnaka.
Absolutely.
And they also released the cover of that. Where is it now? That series that I ordered. There was that limited series from Big Time Collectibles, and with the special Ahsoka covers. And funny enough, they dropped the cover for the new issue.
Nice.
So very cool cover on that. So I can't wait for that series to be done, so they'll mail me the whole collection. But
Yoda versus
heck yeah,
Yoda, best fight in the OT.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I've tweeted that many times.
And Jeremiah, I also wanted to. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. The Once a Man Cobra Commander, where he's just making that final transition after getting drugged by Cobra Law.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, that would be an epic one to have. That's was that the movie? I think that was the movie.
Yeah, it was the movie.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, very cool. Before we jump into the last segment, Jim, again, thank you for coming on. And where can everybody find everything ECP and ECPCTV?
that was good.
Alphabet soup.
Alphabet soup.
A whole bunch of consonants by one vowel. So you can find us at ECPCTV.com. You can find everything we do, ECPCTV.com. That will get you to all of our social media, get you to our YouTube channel where a lot of our stuff is coming, is we do all of our podcasts. We put them in video format there. We've also put them in audio format, and all of our podcasts are available on every podcast format out there and every channel and out there that you consume podcasts from. And so we would like everybody, if you haven't already liked and subscribed us at ECPCTV.com, go to our YouTube channel, subscribe. We got a lot of cool stuff going. You're going to be seeing a lot of really cool new content coming out from this year's ICCC. But also after the convention is over, we're getting back into production mode on our first television show. It's it's going to be a fun format where it's going to be kind of reality TV style, but we're going to pit Matt versus Micah, and we're going to we've got some sponsors that are going to sponsor toy hunts. And so there's rules around it and everything, and it's going to be a competition. And so each one is going to have to go through their own Rolodex and find their own contacts and their own toy stores. Camera crew is going to follow them everywhere they go, and they have to go on the hunt for this particular one item. They're both going to come back with the same item, but whoever comes back with that item, which actually gets the best grade, which we're going to have professionals doing the judging on the grading. And whoever gets the best deal on that item will win that competition. And so the sponsor will get one of their pick of whichever one of the items that they want from those collections. And then we're going to save up everything from a season. We're going to do a 6-episode season to start. And we're going to save up those 6 toys. And then we're going to do an auction, and we're going to pick a charity where we'll do an online auction of some sort where we get all of our friends involved with it and everything to help us promote it and do something really fun around it for that episode. And then do a big auction for those 6 toys and take all that money and pour it into some charitable foundation.
That's awesome.
Oh,
That's
that sounds
cool.
awesome. That would be fun.
I'm really looking forward to watching these two. These two can be clowns. And I've been on toy hunts with them, and that's what sparked the idea for the show, is watching them haggle and negotiate. And, some of these people, they get really into this stuff. So, and they're really fun, really, really fun to watch. So, I think it's going to be pretty cool. We're going to have to call ahead to the stores and let everybody know, hey, we're coming, blah, 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 legal, sign this. We got to do all the crazy, the not fun stuff. Yeah. But we're telling everybody, we're not preemptively setting you up for what we're looking for. And they have to come in, and the negotiations will be real. That's the whole point of the whole show. Negotiations are real, and they have to come back with the item that we're sending them out for at the best price with the best grade.
Awesome. That's awesome. And I think Kokomo is probably 5 hours north of you guys, right? Mm-hmm. Isn't that, yeah. Yeah. That they've got a really impressive collection. We stopped there on our way down last year.
Okay.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's very cool.
Yeah, that'll be epic.
Can't wait to see you guys throw that together.
Absolutely.
That's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right, Scruff, you ready?
I am ready.
You doing the music, or you doing the?
I got the picture and the music. Hold on.
All right, go for it. Dad joke of the week. Time to annoy Scruffy and DB. Dad joke of the week.
Well, the funny thing about this, Jim, is he wrote this and created this on his drive home from work.
Okay.
Yeah. I came up with the words and then I recorded it in about 20 minutes. So there's
Okay.
some audio excellence right there for you. So
Absolutely.
sorry about that.
I'm
So
loving it.
Star Wars Dad Joke of the Week, courtesy of Kelly Knox's book, Star Wars Dad Jokes. And all right, so here we go. What kind of books do stormtroopers read in their spare time?
What?
Troubleshooting guides.
Oh my gosh.
How did we not guess that?
That was Dad Joke of the Week. Now don't you feel absolutely complete?
No.
All right.
I'm gonna back you up on that.
Thank you. Yes.
So Jim, again, thank you for coming on the show. Can't wait to see you in about a month's time. Something that we do on the show, every guest that comes on the show becomes an honorary member of Brown Squadron, and with that you get a flight designation and a call sign. And guys, I think listening to the conversation today, I almost think, I know we had the one planned, but I'm thinking the alternate one might be better, because it was so we try to relate the call sign to something in Star Wars, and it's something related to what the person does in real life. And so we had Googled communications expert. We were trying, there's not a lot obviously for podcasts or anything in Star Wars, or production crews, that kind of thing. So we were going to go with a Grinder, which was a Bothan slicer in the Wraith Squadron, but now after the talk of tramp stamps and mesh tops, I think we're going to avoid that one. And instead, we're going to go with so Brown 60 and Lamar. And where Lamar comes from is Lamar was a senior lieutenant in the Imperial Navy who served aboard the Chimera and was the senior communications officer for several years for Thrawn.
Oh,
and
nice.
So I think that one definitely,
dig it.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So that one definitely ties in, I think.
Absolutely, I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. So Brown 60 and Lamar.
All right.
And, so welcome to the crew, Jim. And so we can't wait to see you in a month. Thanks again for coming on. Sounds like it's going to be a great lineup. Definitely going to be camping out in the ECPCTV stage all week that we're there. That's definitely going to be my main gist the whole time we're there. And yeah, I think with that, guys, we'll get out of here tonight. And for everything Hyperspace Heroes, I almost said Hollow Space. I'm completely off track. Once again, too, icnashville.com for tickets for ICCC. Definitely check that out, icnashville.com for that. If you want to get a hold of us, we're on the main socials. I even created a Blue Sky account, I think the other day, whatever that is. We're on Facebook, Twitter.
With social media, man.
I know, right? Well, Blue Sky was like, when everybody was mad at Twitter and X or Twix or whatever. And
I'll talk to you about MySpace.
Yeah, I know, right? Blue Sky. Blue Sky was one of those alternatives that they came up with as a thing to X and Twitter. But we're on Threads, not as much. But we're on the main three, which is Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And so you can find us there. You can find all of our links for all of our services that we're on at beacons.ai/Brown Squadron. And then you can also contact us directly via email at brownsquadron@gmail.com. So, all right. So there's a little thing we do when I do the sign off. After I do the sign off, we all in our best unison say, "That's no moon," instead of "May the force be with you." So you're welcome to join us if you want, Jim.
Absolutely.
With that, thanks again for coming on tonight. And this is Brown Leader signing off for the crew. And you have been listening and watching Hyperspace Heroes. That's no moon.